Well, good morning, universe, and welcome to my corner of it. A little gravelly this morning. It rained last night, and I vocally always represent what the weather is like. Quite bizarre that way, really. I'm actually feeling pretty good this morning. I was feeling pretty good yesterday morning as well. And yesterday was kind of a weird day. I don't know about the rest of you, but the pandemic kind of put a hamper on my, nobody went out, did they? It was lockdown. But I've found even after lockdown that it's been difficult getting out more. I'm finding that I prefer to stay home. That I'm not enjoying being with people as much as I should, or I just don't be with people, I suppose is the thing. But yesterday, I had a luncheon date with a colleague who is going away for a few months in the new year and would like me to take her choir during that period. And as it's nearby, and they seem like a really nice group, and I like her a lot. We worked on a course together a long time ago, but so I'm happy to help, and so I went out for lunch. Right. Well, it's been a really interesting week here because it's just one of those weeks where the universe kind of conspires to make things difficult for you, and you really have to, if I want to do something, I really have to want to do it. Or and even if the universe says, we're going to put some obstacles in your way, you kind of still have to keep going. So last week, I got my hair cut, or actually I got my hair colored. It was cut a couple of weeks ago. And I decided to try something a little bit different and have a kind of a fun color put in just underneath. My hair is quite long now. I know I'm not going to show you just right now, but and it's just kind of, it just comes through, and I really like it. So the day that I went to do that, I decided I'd have the car washed as well, because it's been a couple of years since the car was washed. And got back to the car park, and the car looked great. It was good. So all went well, and I came home. And I noticed that there were these little tags all over the neighborhood on the cars nearby. I didn't get one because I wasn't here. But saying that there would be some works done on the street. I think they're laying cable. So, of course, the week that I decide to get the car washed is the week that they're going to tear up the pavement in front of my house, which they've done. That was exciting. They're still about 3/4 away down the street, and they haven't put the cable in yet. They're just doing the holes for the cable. It's been very noisy, but hey, people have to earn a living, and without the internet, I think a lot of us would have been really lost. And still lost, because that's how we communicate with everyone else. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is all I need for right now. So I'm just going to put that away, and we're going to finish this flower as well. So I'll just do that. Ooh. Great. So I'm meeting this friend nearby at a nice little Thai restaurant, which sounds great for lunch. It's 11 minutes from my house. It's in the next town over, little town, really cute town. I like it a lot. And so I get in my car, notice that it is all very dusty. But as it looks like it's about to rain, I figure, well, the rain will probably wash off all that dust from the work that the men have been doing, the guys have been doing. And I get towards the bottom of my road. Is there better scissors for that? And the road's closed. Now, I live on a hill, and the gradient is about like that. So I'd gotten to the bottom of the hill, and I had to back up to the next street so that I could turn around and go the other way. Okay, fine. Backing up a steep gradient is not exactly my idea of fun and frolic, but, you do it. So I turned around, came down the other way on the street, and then made my way to the other town. And I get there, and I'm going to park in the car park behind Sainsbury's. Now, mind you, just as I pull into Sainsbury's, it starts to rain, and it's quite heavy rain. But being the weather has been really hot here, I really don't care if I get wet, because basically I'm going to dry off in about 45 seconds, no matter what happens. So I'm still not, wary that anything weird is happening in the world. So I park the car, go up to get the pay and display ticket, and the machine's not working. And then so I call the number to pay that way, because I don't have the app downloaded on my phone, because I haven't really used that kind of a car park in a really long time. And I call and they say, well, you've been denied. What do you mean I've been denied? Because your last payment didn't go through. Not because I hadn't paid, but because the transaction hadn't been finished. Well, the transaction from that hadn't been finished because there was no Wi-Fi access. I couldn't get any kind of a signal in the car park I was at that day. And so I had to go into a building and get a ticket and bring it back and put it on the car, blah, blah. So that was good. So I noticed that there's another pay point. So I walked down there. It's not raining much, just a little bit of drizzle. 1, 2, 3, 4. I just need 2 more on there. Excellent. And that one's not working either. So I leave the car park, take my car, and I go to car park number 2, which is nearby. Car park number 2 is small, and there are no spaces. Okay. By this time, it has been probably half an hour. I'm still in time for lunch. I'm still in time to meet my friend. But as luck would have it, I get to the third car park. No spaces there either. Okay. So then I go to the one behind the other grocery store, which is larger, and there are spaces. Result. And I get to the pay point there, and that one's not working either. And after about 15 minutes of trying, I realized, and I had downloaded the app, but it was just everything was taking really long. The reason it wasn't working was because I've changed car, not because anything weird I'd done. And I hadn't realized, anyway, I thought I could just put in my new car. Anyway, it was taking, as all these things do, take forever. And my friend is waiting, and it is now close to 45 minutes, and I am late, as it were. And I'm getting upset. It's nothing major, just I'm upset. I can feel myself starting to tear up, and it's becoming uncontrollable. A very nice lady offered to pay for my parking, and I wouldn't let her. I probably should have. She was very kind. So then I noticed that somebody else came back with a ticket from the other pay point. So we go down to there, and that one is working, thank goodness. But it's kind of a different one and had some extra buttons, and anyway, I'm not afraid of tech. I'm doing this for goodness sake. How afraid of tech could I be? But some car parks are pay and display. Some car parks are pay on the way out, which I prefer, because then you just put in your registration and it tells you how much you owe, which works for me. It seems like a better idea. And I was just getting frustrated. It was really frustrating. And I'm not somebody who likes being late to anywhere. But it feels as though the universe is conspiring. And I know I'm not that important in the universe that I should be conspired against. So then I walk down and I walk past the restaurant because my brain is not working right. And so I walk back. I get to the restaurant. It's fine. We sit down. I'm nearly in tears. I have a little moment and then order a drink. Because, of course, it's lunch, and I thought, well, this is going to be my main meal of the day. I've had half a cup of tea that morning, and that was it. Oops, that's got an extra bit on it. I don't want that. So I sit down, and after a while, the waitress comes over, and so I order, or waiter comes over, I guess it was for that part. And I order a white wine spritzer. And he says, oh, which wine do you want? I said, well, a dry white wine. And he starts saying, oh, I'm going to look through it. And all I wanted was a spritzer. It didn't need to be exciting. It didn't need to be fabulous. And I said, okay, just use the house wine. That's fine. So a little while later, they bring me my drink. This is not a fancy restaurant. White wine spritzer has white wine, ice, and some kind of sparkling water, unless you want lemonade, which I don't, but and sparkling water. Usually in a tall glass with a great deal of ice. Even in UK, it comes with ice. So what I get are 3 glasses. A glass of wine, a glass of ice, and a glass of the sparkling water. Fizzy water, and you're kind of going, what? I get a deconstructed white wine spritzer so I can mix it the way I'd like. Okay, that's generous. Seems a little bit overdone because we're only talking about a white wine spritzer. We're talking summer cool drink, and we're talking about using three glasses where all you needed was one. And I asked them if they had a pint glass because I was just going to pour it all in together, make one large drink, which seemed to me like the sensible thing to do. Pour it all in at once. But she looked at me like I was from Mars. No, she didn't even know what a pint glass was. Really? Fortunately, I had very good training when I first arrived here. And they took me to the pub the very first evening and they said, this is a pint, this is a half. Don't bother with the half because, well, it just means you have to go up to the bar and order another one a lot more often. And they also made one other small proviso at that point. They said, this is a real ale. This is real beer. This is what you drink. Gosh, I'm sorry my voice is so scravelly today, but there we go. I think I need some coffee. So, 1 coffee. Yay. So I'm still on my first morning coffee. It's one of those. Let's make another one. So it was a very nice lunch, catching up with with Tina and talking a little bit about her choir and what kind of choir they were and what kind of material they would like to do and how it's all going to work. And I think I'm going to enjoy it because, oops. Is that just too small of a thing? Let's find out. No, it's okay. But there are just some days where the universe just kind of, no matter what you do, and you know that, other people are having much worse days. I've had much worse days. But every little thing just kind of gets to you. I suppose the one thing that I was slightly concerned about, now that I'm totally on my own, is that it would be really easy for me to become a recluse and to just work from home all the time and not go out at all. And the pandemic really played into that. It doesn't help when those days that you do go out, things happen to make it. Why should I go out? So I've come back to my little comfy place. Today I will be going out again. I'm going to try and force myself to go out every day just for a little while, even if it's only a walk to the top of the road and back. I like these little tiny sort of semi-open, these are opening blossoms. I think they're going to be a really nice addition to the table skirt that I'm doing with these. Oops, did that one too. It's got a little I never do it so you get the knot right at the end. It's okay. But I do find that making something in the morning, even if it's only a little thing, it's like your brain goes to another zone. Just a really comfortable place for me. Doesn't have to be anything fancy. And there's something about quilting and embroidery, particularly, where you have that repetition of the gestures. And even this is just a little tiny running stitch. This is nothing terribly difficult, but it just makes it so much, it just makes it pop, I think. I'm going to make these in several colors, I think, to add to the table skirt. And as no one watches me on this, I can tell anybody who does catch up on this later. This is going to feature in my Christmas presents this year too, I think, as they'll all be made. I bought a couple of really cute, they're star-shaped Advent boxes that have 25 drawers in them, little tiny drawers. And I thought it would be fun to do that for a Christmas present for some close friends. And then they get a little flower every day in each box. And I thought about putting them on lights, but I think what we're going to do is just make the little garland Excuse me. Just a little tiny garland, which I think might be quite sweet. There's so many different kind of flowers I'm doing now. It's actually been really interesting exploring all the different kinds of things you can do and just changing it up a little bit. But I do like them with the little embroidery or little running stitch. I think with these, which has been fun, is because I put the knot just in the little corner like that. And even though it has a little run here, you can't quite see, I suppose, that where that's going to, this is the part that's going to attach to the middle. You won't see that, but you get just a little, it's like just a little extra color inside, just by using just a slightly darker thread than the felt is around. Sewing puts me in a better frame of mind. So the plan is today, it's a very exciting plan, do some laundry, that'll be fun. Iron some shirts. I'm trying to catch up with my ironing mountain. So I'm going to trying to iron 3 shirts a day, 4 if I really feel like it. Make something really healthy and nice to eat for lunch, which will be my sort of brunchy main meal of the day, which I think it's going to be rice and fish today. And it's a cool enough day to feel like doing something. The heat has been really, really hard here. It's not like, it's like when I was growing up in the States when I was little, and we had fans in the house a bit. We didn't have a fan in the bedroom, as I recall, and we certainly didn't have a house that was air conditioned at that time. Few houses did. We eventually moved to a house that had it, but it was like every time you would go out, you'd go to a restaurant or something, and the air conditioning would be on, but it would be freezing. It would just be so cold. I remember kind of forgetting about that, living in the UK for so long, and so the occasional summer that I would go home for a few weeks, visit the family, and we'd go out. And I would have bought a really nice, pretty sundress to wear. I remember one I bought from Laura Ashley. We used to shop at Laura Ashley a lot in the early days. It was great. And it was so pretty. And I don't think I wore it at all while I was home because it was just, you'd go out and it was just too cold. Oh, well. Nice, that'll do. Woke up in the middle of the night as I usually do. I was up for a couple of hours, but it's okay. Came in here and did some making, which was fun. Had a cup of tea till I felt tired and went back to bed. But on my way back to bed, I noticed that there was a dark patch on the floor. Ah, you say, you must have cats. Yes, well, I have 2. And they are still hunting. And I was just lucky I didn't have a small accident on my way from the bedroom into the office last night. And I was lucky I saw it so that I could shift it outside. The the bottom part of my garden is like a Disney forest. It's overgrown. Grass is long. The trees are overgrown, but they're small trees and small bushes. But it just looks lush. It still looks lush, even in this weather. And because I live on a hill, and I overview another hill, and there's a lot of it. It's suburban, but it feels much more rural than what it is. And I'm literally 5 minutes from town, which is great. So I just toss whatever's come in on from the boys out to the bottom, what I call the bottom 40, although it's not 40 acres or anything. It's nothing like. It's just my little piece of forest. And the red kites come down and have a snack. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I need one more of those, and I can make another flower. Yay! Coffee. Yes! And one more of these. Oops, I don't need that extra piece of little glue on there, so let's get rid of that. It won't matter if it stays or not, just I prefer to take it off. That one's got a little loop on it, I don't mind, that can stay. I think the thing I'm finding that I really like about working with felt is it's so forgiving. And it's so pretty. Every once in a while I think, clean and minimalist could be a really lovely thing to have. And then I think, it's not really me, is it? I like to have tidy areas. My house isn't always totally tidy, but it has moments. Oops, little knot. So I can get it out. Yep, perfect. I suppose that's the thing about sewing, is that if I make a huge blunder, it's never a terrible huge blunder. It's a bit like going on the tubes in London when you first arrived here and you don't know where you're going and you don't know which which tube to take or where you're going, and if you make a mistake and you've gone one step too far or 2 stops you have to go back or turn around or whatever, is you can just do it and nobody looks at you like you're an idiot, because you don't have to tell them, you just sort it. I enjoy going to London. Used to work quite a lot in London. Used to work in London on Saturdays and Sundays for a conducting course I was helping to teach. That was great fun. Oops, I got 6. Great. That means put that aside and I can make, I've already got my center made. I can start adding my petals. I helped design the conducting course for the Association of British Choral Directors. When I moved here, 40 years ago or plus, it was a reasonably new organization, and I was on one of the regional committees because I wanted to be involved in the group. And again, I wanted to meet colleagues. I also wanted to learn. Still do. Does that ever stop, I wonder? Don't think so. And we were having an après meeting at the local wine bar, as one does. And we're bemoaning the fact that here we are, a conducting organization, and there are very few places in the country, if any, where you can take a conducting course, especially a conducting course that was specifically for choirs, because orchestral conducting is, there are some skills that are similar or the same, and a good orchestral conductor will be able to know what to do with 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I do have 6. We're good. Good orchestral conductor will know how to deal with voice as well, and a good choral conductor will also know how to deal with instrumentalists as well. And they should be, not one is better than the other. It's just they're just different. They're slightly different, but as long as the music and the integrity of the music is involved, is great. So we were bemoaning the fact that there wasn't a conducting course in this country, and particularly there wasn't one attached to the organization, which seems silly. And the secretary of the committee was sitting there, so he put a little note at the end of the minutes for that meeting and called it the après meeting. And I will ever be so grateful to the president of the organization at that time, picking it up and said, well, you're quite right. Time to have a conducting course. And so 3 of us were designated as get it started. So we did. And it's going very well. And still going, of course. In fact, the person who's in charge of the education stuff now for ABCD was one of the people who was one of the students on the course way back. I think she was on the first or she was on the second or third course, I think. Might have been the second one. It's been lovely to see how all the students have progressed and how they've chosen the areas of that they want to specialize in. Some do more than one thing. Some have gone professional. Some work with everyone. Some a lot work with community choirs. But they all have a love of the human voice and what it can do when it sings together. I still have my one choir, my one community choir, who are lovely. And I'm looking forward to this autumn, starting to prepare the music. I finished programming. Took me a little longer this summer because I was doing a couple of other things. But they really are a lovely group. Right, well, that's about our time. So, from my corner of the universe to yours, have a good one. And that's it.